Welcome to Anime Out of Context, a comedy review show where a man completely immersed in anime culture torments his co-host, who is only allowed to watch the shows featured here. If you'd like to support the show, you can do so at patreon.com/animeoutofcontext. Alongside over 100 hours of exclusive bonus material, all episodes uploaded to Patreon are completely ad-free, even to non-patrons. Thank you for listening, and enjoy.
Hello and welcome to Anime Out of Context, the show where I attempt to explain the sometimes weird, sometimes wonderful, but always hilarious world of anime.
And I go spelunking, aka The Big Hole.
I'm Sean Rollins.
I'm Remington Chase.
All right, Remington. Last episode of January, if I'm remembering my dates correctly.
Yeah. And thus far, I ended up surprisingly enjoying last week. That doesn't change the fact that thus far, you've tried to start the year by killing me.
We all do things.
You've started this year in a very adversarial way, Sean.
What makes you say that, Rem?
I'm just looking at the past few weeks.
It's true.
Can make a man kind of paranoid.
Would it make you more paranoid if I offered you another choice for your last episode of January?
Oh, fuck. All right. The last choice went so well. I nailed that one.
It's not my fault you chose the wrong answer.
You fucking okay. Just give it. What's the choice? We don't need to bring up old arguments. All right.
Okay, Rem. What you're essentially choosing is between the past, the present, and the future.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
That's it.
And I'll give you one question about each.
Okay. Oh, fuck. I'm always torn between getting cute and creative with my questions, but getting nothing out of them.
Yeah, it's very much asking, is there a Vortox in this game?
Yeah. You know what? It's simple, but I'm gonna go. Give me genres, give me subgenres.
Subgenres. See, that's different.
Yeah, from subgenres, I should be able to deduce overarching genre, but it'll give more info.
All right, so you want subgenres. Is that going to be the same question for all three?
Yep,
okay.
All across the board.
Okay, alrighty. So the subgenre for the first one is, for the past, I should say, is school and gag humor.
Okay, all right, okay.
The subgenre for the present is visual arts and school.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
And the subgenre for the future is... I love Mal sometimes. Is adult cast and organized crime.
But of course.
Just emphasize, those are the subgenres or themes.
Yep. All right. I'm based off of this. I feel the present sounds like it could just be, weird and artsy fartsy, and that's down my alley. The other two could go either way. I can imagine a positive version or a negative version very easily. So I'm gonna go with the present, Sean.
That your final answer?
Sure, why not?
Okay, well, let's first talk about the ones you didn't choose.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I was very careful about how I chose these, because I had January planned out, because I plan these things in advance, contrary to popular belief. But the first thing I had chosen for you was the past, which of course meant an anime from the past, but the past that also included the last episode we recorded. Because I was going to show you an anime adaptation of a 4-coma that I gave to one of our patrons last week.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. And that would have been Azumanga Daioh, which is just a cutesy little slice of life gag anime from the early 2000s.
Okay, that probably would have been solid, but fuck it, it's gone now.
Yep. And then the future is a currently airing show that people are super hyped about.
Okay.
The show that we would have covered would have been Sakamoto Days, which is a bit of an action comedy show about a very profound assassin and hitman who falls in love with a woman, gets married, has a kid, gets fat, and wants to live his peaceful life running a convenience store.
And what about that's the future, though?
The future is that it's currently airing and there's more to watch.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah. There's only 3 episodes out now at the time of this recording.
I get you.
Yep. Hence why there's more to come.
Very clever, Sean. Very clever.
Yep. And so you chose present. And the present is... God, part of me was hoping you wouldn't choose the present because it would have been funny.
Don't you fucking do this to me.
But no. It's okay, Rem. The present is what we're getting a lot of requests for currently by our lovely listeners. And our listeners were a little upset that they've been cucked twice in a row. So instead...
And so you very deliberately chose a format that it had a 2/3 chance happening again.
Yeah. I genuinely thought it would be hilarious.
My God.
Because I'm a bastard like that.
You are.
But alas, the sub-genre question cinched it for you, and you were very curious. So, instead, Remington, to wrap up January, we're going to be watching the anime simply titled Blue Period.
Okay, all right, here we go.
Because people really wanted you to cover it and give your opinions on it, as well as they've been asking for an episode for it for, 4 years.
Oh man, I'll have a chance to revive my brand new Guernica pickup line.
Dylan fucking loved that pickup line, by the way. Like, that was one of the first things he mentioned to me when he finished editing that episode.
That's so fucking good. Yeah, when I can actually make Dylan a happy boy, then I've succeeded, all right?
Yeah, no, he fucking loved that one. He did then tell me that we should go to a club and I should try it on somebody, and I flat out refused.
Do it, coward!
Oh,
God, can you imagine you finding your soulmate based off of...
a pickup line you came up with?
It'd be so good!
You would never let me live it down.
I'd be so proud.
But you probably want to know what Blue Period is actually about, though you have a rough idea already.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it is about artists, as you might have guessed.
Yep.
It's about our main character, second-year high school student, Yatora Yaguchi. And he's a bit of a naughty boy. He's a bit of a delinquent, but also he's a bit of a smart boy. But the problem is, as is the case with a lot of young folk, he doesn't really have any motivation to do anything.
Oh, God. All right. I can already feel the 13-year-old Remington swelling up within me, feeling so represented.
Yeah, there it is. Except rather than painting, yours was magic. But goodness. But yeah, no, he's got a strong academic standing, and his friends aren't exactly as ambitious as he is, of course. But, one day he comes to a bit of a conclusion. He's trying to figure out what he wants to do and try and figure out how to motivate himself to do it. And it all comes to him when he decides to paint a beautiful landscape that he saw in front of him, or try to at the very least. And he finds inspiration in painting and wants to go on to, the Tokyo University of the Arts. And I don't know if you know anything about international universities, but Tokyo U is kind of the big one in Japan.
Makes sense.
So, getting into an incredibly competitive school like that is a lofty ambition, especially for somebody who quite literally just picked up painting.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's a coming-of-age story about a guy trying to find his place in the world while also trying to learn about the world of art itself while being surrounded by incredibly talented artists as well.
All right, cool.
Yeah, pretty straightforward, man. And it's a show that has a nice little edge of drama to it, while also being, a show where we can watch a protagonist grow and try and figure out who the fuck he is.
And so last week you showed me something you thought I'd hate, and I actually loved it. So this week you showed me something you think I'll love, and then I hate it, and then everyone wants to kill me.
No, Rem. I'm showing you this because everybody thinks you'll love it. I never said my opinion.
Oh, I see. Okay,
My opinion has nothing to do with it. I just thought it'd be a good episode for us.
Oh.
Because after all, I came up with, the choice of Shakespeare or Picasso, And I was very pleased with that. And I thought either way it would be a good episode. And seeing how many people were upset that I essentially cut them twice in a row was so good for me that I thought it would be a good opportunity to do it a third time and or actually cover it for realsies this time.
Sure.
But yeah, that's basically all I have for you. Do you have any other questions, or are you ready to get started?
I think I'm ready.
All right, so without further ado, let's go watch some Blue Period. And we are back after watching 5 whole episodes of the hit 2021 anime Blue Period. And Remington, was me blue-balling our audience for several weeks worth the wait, or are you about to just really, really cuck them hard on this one?
So, Sean.
Uh-huh.
I want to be clear.
Okay.
I want to be completely and abundantly transparent. I do not think that this is a bad show.
Oof, this is a heavy preamble.
So let's get that out of the way right now.
So you think this is a good show, then? Well, Ryan, if you don't think it's a bad show, surely it has to be a good show.
So let's talk about it. So our protagonist, right? Yatora, yeah. I always end up shortening their names, so I've just been writing Yacht.
You've been writing Yacht. Ah, boy, Yacht.
Yeah, so I need to find like the one instance I actually wrote the full name.
And here I thought you would have stuck with his surname, which was Yaguchi, because you would have loved to call him Gucci the whole time.
I can call him Little Yachty right now, so you know there's options either way.
Right.
So he's our protagonist. He's sort of a delinquent, but not like a hardcore delinquent. Just has a few kind of delinquent friends, but they're actually just wholesome homies.
Yep.
And he falls in love with art.
Yep.
And throws himself into it, works really hard, is getting better and better, et cetera, right? All that good stuff.
Mm-hmm. All the things you want in somebody who finds a new passion.
Sure. Here's my big issue with this show, all right?
Okay.
Ostensibly, this is a show about falling in love with, learning about, and pursuing excellence within art.
Yeah.
Right? That's the thing. However, that isn't what the show has been ostensibly actually truly about for the most part in these 5 episodes. What it's actually really the show has been instead is mostly an introspective sports anime.
Okay.
By which I mean that sports anime, good old, you take that, the Pokemon principle, I want to be the very best like no one ever was, right? Slot that right in there. Wait, okay, that's a fine start. And there's lots of like imposter syndrome going back and forth between being proud of something to being ashamed, thinking like, oh man, I'm so amazing and so fast have I risen, to being like, oh god, I have so much more, so far up to climb. Everyone's so much better than me. Oh fuck. And vacillating between those, as is common in any artistic pursuit, which is nice, but mostly, they yada over so much of the actual artistic process the majority of the time in these 5 episodes, where these 5 episodes, with a couple exceptions, it is a whole lot of, all right, Lil Yachty, you need to work on this thing. You need to work on this concept or this principle, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then we cut to having, he's worked on it, and they're like, wow, you worked on it and you improved, look at you go. And they kind of skip over that middle bit, where he works on improving himself and creates the goddamn art. That's why. That's it. That's the show. That's what, if it's all about learning and working hard and creating art, then why do you so often, more times than not, skip the art? You just go, like, especially episodes like 2 through 4, it's rampant where it's just, hey bud, you need to work on this. Wow, good job, you worked on that. And it was like, oh, okay, I guess he did in those 2 seconds. In the 2 seconds where he was like, oh, what should I make? And then it was like, here's what he made, and it went great. All right, moving on. That's why are they rushing over the core of the show?
You seem a little bamboozled, sir.
And because if in a show about, like, not just learning to love and appreciate and create art, but also about, it truly seems to care about, like, the struggle of the artistic process and how difficult and it's a struggle, and it's often tedious, it's often not fun, it's often frustrating, but it is also often exhilarating, and it's those things very often within the same work you are trying to create. Why skip all of that more times than you don't? That doesn't make sense to me.
Well, it could be as simple as they only had 12 episodes to work with, and they wanted to cut as many story beats as possible. I don't know how long the manga is off the top of my head, so it's very possible that, maybe those more focused skill-based assets were cut in favor of the story of the characters themselves, first and foremost, in that limited 12-episode time period. I don't know if that's the actual case, but...
I mean, even all of those, I will say, it is clear that a lot got cut.
Yeah.
It seems like this show works with its very rushed pacing to a decent degree, but it's like it's like in those in all of those cooking shows that people can get sabotaged, right? Mm-hmm. And so you're making of some fucking chicken parmigiano with the goddamn dino nuggies. And it's like, oh, you I mean, this is impressive considering it's dino nuggies, but I honestly, I would have preferred it not to be dino nuggies. I would have preferred a proper piece of goddamn chicken. So it's like, it is well done considering the extremely rushed pace. Would have been really nice if they didn't rush the pace. Because the second episode, right, first episode, he falls in love with art, okay?
Right.
Cool. And it's like he's just barely getting started. Second episode zooms through months and months at a time. It's like, oh, hey, you know how you might be really interested in these earliest stages? Nah. We're going to radically zoom through them. And without much of a sense of time even. Like, there's one line in episode 2 where this girl he's interacting with is like, oh yeah, that conversation we had so long ago, last spring. And I was like, what the, so long ago? That's been 10 minutes and it's not like it hasn't given me this sense of time. It's just told me, hey, we're way in the future now. And you're like, oh, fuck, okay, all right. I don't, what's the fucking rush, dude? What's the rush?
Okay, well, I definitely have just discovered part of the answer.
Please do share.
So, Rem, we often say here that a good adaptation does about 2 chapters per episode, usually. That's usually like the rough limit, yeah. Because if you do any less than that, the pacing feels drawn out, and if you do way more than that, you lose a lot of shit. If you're not careful.
Yeah.
So Blue Period, you'll be shocked to find, does stick to about the 2 episode per chapter goal. There's just one slight issue.
Yeah?
Each chapter of Blue Period is about twice the length of your standard manga.
I see.
So really, really, yeah, because Volume 1, I think, is like just shy of 240 pages or so. And that's a lot. That's a lot. And so when you say, oh man, they adapted 2 chapters, but when each chapter, like first chapter exception, like first chapter of any manga is usually between like 25 to 40 pages, right? But if every chapter is that length,
yeah, if every chapter's thick,
you're gonna cut out a lot of stuff that definitely would get lost in the pacing. Like some stuff, losing some stuff is great and fine, like we're used to that. But when you're cutting out that many things, it can definitely screw with a lot of the pacing, and you might lose some of the things you like the most about a show.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong, once again.
And of course, I haven't read the manga, so I can't corroborate if that is 100% the case. But based on the fact that of how long these chapters are itself, it leads me to think, okay, yeah, because chapter 1 is 61 pages. Chapter 2 is 49 pages. Chapter 3 is 51 pages. Chapter 4 is 58 pages. So that's our first 2 episodes, over 200 pages of content.
And it just, it does it pretty well where there is still a surprising amount of like character development, which is nice, but there's no room for anything to breathe whatsoever. It often feels like things pop into and out of relevance. Like each episode seems to be trying to accomplish too much. And then, as I've mentioned, the thing that seems to get cut very frequently, and maybe it's not actually in the manga, maybe the manga also, for some reason, skips over a lot of like the primary artistic process. But it feels like that's just cut. And in either case, it's a strange creative decision. Because, you know, what it ended up feeling like was just 90% of the time, it was generic pursuit of excellence, which is why I called it an introspective sports anime. Because it's just sort of slot in whatever, I want to be the best at this. And it's like, there's a little bit more, it's a little bit more introspective, but not by a ton. And most of the time in these 5 episodes, I didn't feel a sincere love and appreciation of art. And I thought about one show that like conveyed to me this love for art and creation a lot more.
I think I know which one you're thinking of.
Oh God, I'm struggling to remember the name. It was the couple of girls.
Keep your hands off Azoken.
Yeah.
Hey, guess what I have written in my notes as a comparison point?
That made me like that I could feel the love there. I'm like, yeah.
And that was an anime original. So it you know.
Yeah. It's like, oh man, you can see how much love there is and appreciation for just the act of creation. And this one, it has its moments, especially like in episode 1 and episode 5. There's some moments in those 2 episodes especially where it's like, oh, okay. And it's also, those are the only 2 episodes where, all right, let's talk a little bit about the animation, all right? The animation, for the most part, and just the visuals are fine. They're kind of whatever, for the most part. It has moments that it looks nice. Most times, it just looks kind of whatever. Which, again...
For something that
could be fine.
That's art-centric, you know?
Yeah. I would either expect an all-around higher quality of art, or at very least, I'd be okay with even a lower quality, but like more creative uses of its art, right? Where it's like, hey, it's a little jank, but we're gonna get a little creative with it because, you know, the nature of the show. And they play with things a little bit. When Lil Yachty, when he falls in love with painting initially, it's by creating a blue city, and he sort of imagines himself getting lost in his city, but pictured all blue, right? And this is in episode 1, so you're like, oh, so we're going to have interesting explorations of his artwork and through his artistic process. Lovely. Not really, not much. You get quite a bit in episode 5, which is why episode 5 is also a stronger episode, where he makes a few art pieces and it actually cares to display those kinds of things again and put effort into it. And it's like, oh yeah, here we go. And I'm just like, why is it afraid of that? And I know it's because it's harder and it takes more work, but I'm also like, bitch, this is what you signed up for. I feel like
to comment on like the extent of the animation, like I feel like they did a good job considering their limitations, which one of their limitations was the studio that did this was one called 7 Arcs. And now, Remington, do you remember the last time we talked about 7 Arcs?
Of course not, Sean.
That's because we've never talked about 7 Arcs. We have covered a single anime by them, but, you know, it wasn't an anime that was so centric on the concept of art itself. The last time we talked about them was one called Tonikaku Kawaii, which is you're not going to remember it at all, but it's one where a guy gets hit by a car, saved by a girl, then they get married, and it's about their cute little relationship. Like, it was a fine show. You didn't have a whole lot of high praises for it, but you also didn't have anything super negative to say about it. It was a fine show in your perspective.
I very vaguely remember.
Yes.
All right, so this isn't one of the bigger studios.
No. They were established in 2019. Our podcast is older than this studio.
That's crazy. Here's my advice for really any new studio, any new creative, all right? And this applies to like studios in the case of if you're going to things and being like, hey, we're interested in getting the rights for X, Y, or Z and adapting your thing. This is why you should choose us. Assuming you don't have loads of money because you're just starting out, right? You have to show up and you're like, all right, we probably can't make it the prettiest thing because of the lower budget, right? We probably can't spend the most money. Those aren't tools that we have. So what can we have? We're going to put a lot of heart into it and a lot of creativity into it. All right? You're going to be a baller on a budget. You're going to figure out how to make something distinct and feel fresh and different. But if you end up just like being like the big studios, but a bit worse, that ain't a winning formula. That ain't like being like, hey, we're just gonna follow the normal studio model, but on a lower budget. Okay, good luck, I guess. So I feel like with it being a newer studio and a lower budget studio, look, you gotta be more creative, otherwise you're gonna be left in the fucking dust, mate.
It also doesn't help that Netflix was the one with the exclusive rights for it.
and here's another qualm I have with this anime.
Okay.
So it's called Blue Period, right?
Yep.
And obviously there can be multiple reasons for this, but the like obvious in your face reason is Picasso's Blue Period.
Yeah.
But they seem to mostly just be using that because like, hey, it's an artsy thing. There's not. Look, I'm not saying I need, like, his best friend to kill himself, all right? I'm not saying that that's what I need for it to be called the Blue Period.
Okay.
But it feels like there should at least be a bit more of a connection there to Picasso's Blue Period.
How do I say things without getting too spoilery?
Oh, man, are you going to tell me that his friend kills himself?
No, I'm not going to tell you that, Rem, because I only had 5 episodes to show you. So, I'll just let your imagination do whatever it pleases, whether or not it's correct or not.
Oh man, I'm gonna say if it's the one trans character who has been a bit mood swingy and depressed, then motherfucker, they're gonna be frigid. They're gonna be frigid, and there should be letters written. The trans representation, it's nice, even though it leads to just a very weird conversation with the main character. I like just a weird moment. Overall, this is a fine anime. I think it has moments of like really nuanced and complex explorations of the creative process and struggle, which I appreciate. I think it has some fun moments with characters and how they blend together. The reason I think I'm so critical is because it's in that category of it's fine, but it should have been so much more. And so it's like there's plenty of anime that are I would rate similarly, but I wouldn't go this hard on because it's like, look, man, they weren't gonna get any better than they were. They were destined to be mediocre as fuck. But this could have been something. It could have been something, goddammit.
Rem, I think this is probably going to be one of our next most requested revisits, honestly. I don't know whether or not it would fully change your perspective, but I can already feel the Blue Period fans typing up their emails saying, how dare you only show him 5 episodes when it's a 12-episode anime? And my defense to that is, remember our big conversation about pacing?
Yeah.
So, I still like the show quite a bit, but that's also because, I know that I have a manga to dip into when I need something to read.
Yeah, it feels like something, I could be way off base, it feels like something where the manga would be better.
Yeah, well, we'll ask the Flop Boys, see what they have to say. I know it's technically a seinen manga, but they probably read seinen from time to time.
Yeah.
But all right, well then, Rem. I honestly think that's the most generous you can be with it, knowing who you are as a person.
I mean, look, once again, it isn't a damning review. It's just
you feel cucked, is what you're saying.
Look, I see this anime as basically like all my teachers throughout like middle and high school saw me. All right.
Yes.
where it's like, motherfucker, you could be so much more. You could. What the fuck are you doing?
And look at you now, Rem.
You got something special, but you're fucking wasting it. And now here I am with an anime goddamn podcast, so really making use of those tools.
So if I had to guess, Rem, what do you think the battle score for Blue Period is?
Oh, I don't know, probably real high. I think it'll be 8.07.
Final answer?
Sure, why not?
Okay. Well, Remington, Blue Period had an astonishing 226,000 ratings at the time of this recording, which is pretty solid for, 4 years of existing, just about.
Yeah.
And, well, it's sitting nice and pretty at a 7.80, actually.
Oh, interesting.
So the thing that I noticed with it is the people that love this anime aren't immediately putting it at 10 out of 10. Like, the biggest spike is in the 8 out of 10, right? Which, there's a good chunk that are 10 out of 10, but if you were to look at this at a bell curve, the 8 is the highest peak in the middle by a long shot. Like, 32% of the votes gave it an 8 out of 10, which, because of then the next highest spike is the 7 out of 10, which is the 24.8. And then there aren't many people out there saying that this is the worst thing they've ever seen, obviously. Like, there's not many psychopaths giving this like a 1 or 3 out of 10. There's a handful.
Sure.
But like, it's less than 1% of the voting. And a lot of the written reviews are a combination of pacing issues.
Yeah. Oh, yes.
And people who are fans of the manga who wish that it had more time to breathe, essentially. And the people that are not recommending it share a lot of your opinions that it doesn't focus as much on the art as they think they should.
I'm never prepared for the weebs to agree with my critiques.
Yeah, but the people who love the show love it despite those issues, right? Because, like, Rem, you can probably tell just by watching that, while you have your criticisms of it, this is very much a beloved, like, property for a lot of people.
Once again, it has truly something special to it. And if anything, I think that's where a lot of the disappointment comes, because it feels not that they wasted something special necessarily, because once again, it's not bad, it's not fully wasted. There's still worthwhile stuff here, but that you could have done so much more with that special something.
Yeah. There's one review that watched the exact same amount as you did and said it's just a boring show, and I heavily disagree with that personally. But
yeah.
Like that, sometimes people review, like, a lot of these reviews echo both your thoughts and my thoughts. I'm just a lot more willing to forgive those flaws because, well, I'm the weeb on the show, you know me. like I have a reputation to uphold, but also I can strongly resonate with what the characters are trying to do and what they're going through. But the question is whether or not the rest of the show itself lives up to its adaptation, or if this is what a lot of anime end up being, which is advertisement for the manga. I think the Blue Period anime is a perfect advertisement for the manga, because after I watched it, I was like, man, I enjoyed that quite a bit. I kind of want to read the manga instead, though.
Yeah.
So if that was the goal, hey, goal done. If they wanted to make it a more profound and powerful piece and adaptation of its own, it has ways to go.
For sure.
But yeah, so pretty far off with your rating, but your review, the words of your rating are the same as a lot of the people. So,
Yeah.
So, good on you, man. Good on you. And I think that about covers it. You're sick, if people couldn't tell. So we're going to wrap this up quickly so you don't die. If you really want us to come back and revisit it and watch the anime again to completion, because again, only 12 episodes, it's not that hard to get through, then please let us know. We're always happy to do revisits in the future if there's enough clamoring for them. And if you have any other things that you want to point out to Remington that he may have missed in the first 5 episodes, then please let us know as well. Because, this is us doing a show that people have wanted you to cover for quite literally 4 years. So we'll have to see if you satisfied them, or, again, if the theming around this episode on our podcast is anything to say, if you're just leaving them wanting for more.
People are going to have thoughts.
We're going to get some angry emails, but I think our most wonderful listeners are going to have the most understanding responses. And if they don't, well, hey, I did my best, gang. I only had 5 episodes to work with this time. The boy was sick and I didn't want to overwhelm him. So with that in mind, thank you all so much for tuning in. We really appreciate it. If you enjoyed Remington, finally choosing what the people wanted, then please head on over to wherever you get your reviews and leave us a podcast. They mean the world to us, and we do read every single one. And if that is still not enough for you, twitch.tv/anime out of context, where myself, Dylan, and Remington occasionally play video games very poorly. Lately, I've been choosing the game I play based on a wheel. It's not because I'm indecisive, it's because I think it's silly and fun, and that I'm a little struck with choice paralysis at times. And if that is still not enough for you, patreon.com/anime-out-of-context, where you gain access to all kinds of lovely bonus material, including the opportunity to be thanked live on the podcast. So, Rem, who are we thanking this week?
Well, as always, we'd like to send our regards to all of our bland bitch protagonists, as well as our magical girls, who we really appreciate. But moving on, we get to our yandere waifus, who are critiquing our art, but just to make us more talented. And on that list, we have 010, Yandere Neko, Wolfire56. Where's our DBZ review, you ginger fuck? When Mommy Sean and Daddy Dylan love each other, one lays atop the other and just lets it soak. And by it, I mean peanuts. Wes Kane, who is...
Ram, I hate how, because of you, people have attributed yet another strange sexual quality to me.
Sean, I'm sure that's gonna be the only one. Thank you to Wes Kane, who is learning to soak from Sean. Welcome to Anime in Full and Complete Context, the show where watching Requiem for a Spoon Man at 0.5 speed. Wake up this nightmare that will never end. Waffles not included. Variant. Totally good. Tuaru Nerd. Titan CNH. The Susanator. The Spoon Man's Thousand Island Stare. The sheer audacity of this man, agrees Misuga. The Flying Spaghetti Monster. The Danish Viking will conquer the world with Orono Zoro as my navigator. The collab race with Shonen Flop ended with Spoon Man getting a Nikki cookie. Google it. The capybara stole someone's nut and is waiting for the nut fairy Dylan to appear. That time I reincarnated as a podcast host and forced to weep. That smile has no place in Fairy Tales 100 Girlfriends. Turban, Super Zoo. Stripe 54849 is informing you that the aliens have come for Samantha's bananas. Hey, that rhymed. Hey, waiting for Sean to make me his mommy. Stacy's mom. Soaking in that Utah sun. Also show Rem Monogatari. Shawnee Boy soaking his one nut in Judy's big booty.
I hate it here.
The patented one nut soak.
I'm gonna die alone because of you, Remington. I want you to know that.
the one nut soak is Sean's forbidden jutsu.
Rem, you're sick. You're gonna kill yourself. Don't.
Oh God, I will. But I'll die doing what I love, harassing you. Sean wants to give Spoonman a thank you, Jake. Sean ruined my happy sugar life when he did that one thing that made me real sad in 2023. Sean, quit soaking with my grandma, please. Sean is a super soaker master that loves soaking in Judy Ops while I jump on the bed for them. Hashtag one nut Rollins. People have really caught on to these.
God damn it, Remington. What if in the future, you know, I go on a date with somebody and I let it slip that I have a podcast by mistake, which you should never do on a date, by the way, gang. You should never do. It happens to me too frequently because I don't have much else to talk about in my life, unfortunately. And I feel like bringing up Magic the Gathering isn't going to get me very far, unfortunately.
No, meanwhile, the anime podcast, that'll take places.
At least we have lovely patrons who are kind enough to support us. You know, that there's the selling point.
It's true.
Right? Like we're not like other, you know, white guys in their late 20s with podcasts. We actually have some mild success and growing every day, which we appreciate. But like, what if I do that? They listen to an episode like, oh, I'll just listen to the most recent episode. And they're like, oh, you know what? I'll see what their patrons are like. And they listen to that. Do you think I'm getting a second date?
Yes. Because they'll be like, oh man, I've always wanted a man who knows how to soak.
We live in Utah. Nobody wants that.
More people want to hear than anywhere else.
It's not that they want it, it's that they don't know what they want.
Oh, Sean and I will Eiffel Tower 1 Patreon member. That's a hell of a perk right there.
Oh my Christ.
Seraphim the Shark plushie, Ryan Moody, Ross Palmer, Robert Beebe or Big Sussy Templar, Rhiannon Williams, Remington is right, Rem uses the drums of liberation to free all weeps from bad anime, Rem hit rock bottom is still on top of Sean, Rem doesn't completely hate my favorite shows, Red Venom, Raptor King, Professor Fox, Pro Tips Out of Context has run out of things to post, will come back soon, PJ Turtle, Past Soaking 101, Sean Soaking Dynamics is next, Paco Musico, Misuga is looking for a sport she is good at because she has more than enough Misugas to field a team, says Misuga. Mikaika 7 Hierto, Macaroni Uchisa, Lucky Star is the king of Moe, Link Joe Girl, Lenerd 98, King Rich Rock, Cassidy, just another D&D playing furry listener, Jax, Jam Hands, Jake Dent, It's Remin Rainbow, says Miska. Is Sean's scrotum half empty or half full? I'm making
Can we
Rem
not?
say racial.
Can we not?
I'm making Rem say racial slurs until you show him Black Lagoon, you cracker, says Miska. As long as Dylan doesn't censor it, that's something he can't censor.
Yeah.
It would be so much worse if he censors it.
It's true. We live in Utah. That's dangerous enough as is.
I will never get more Ace of the Diamond Now I Cry. I will be on episode 372, says Miska. I have Sean's other nut. I'm keeping it safe under my pillow. I did the jump hump for Rem and Sean soaking. I can't believe I made him come for this. Hot Wheels Acceleracers is the best anime. Happy early cheating death day, Haruhi. Had to get glasses because my eyes suck. Glenn Michael Dolan. Get ready for my origin story. G-Thing72. Flossing with Sean's toe hair for Sleepy Princess.
Wow.
Bird the Fern. Fat Chode Loves All. Farmer Weep wants to warn fellow weeps about soaking for over 3 hours. Fantide. Erica McCorkle. Elisha and the Bear, says Miska. Diana Madrid. Darth Gator. Danielle Riot. Daddy Rum, tell me a bedtime story. Calderius. Cosmic Obsess. Comrade JC. Chloe, short for Cloaca. Cheese Monkey. Cat girls are best girls, so give me them cute little paws. Call Sean a taxidermist the way he stuffs Bunny.
God.
It's pretty good.
Fuck, I shouldn't laugh at that, but damn, that was funny.
Brockhard for Geodudes. I'm gonna go higher. I'm pissing on the moon. Boring Siren. Blackout drunk before butt stuff, says Miska. Bento Kato. And every day that Raven comes to visit, says Miska. Amazing Muffin. AJ Tunnels now making comics on Patreon. Aisha Gucci. Alios. A Moe piece of trash. And now we move on to the Boy Wizard tier. Sean, what are they going to get this week?
I could probably could have predicted it, but I'm going to give them a Picasso painting.
All right, we start with, whoops, I forgot to change my username for a month and called Sean a cuck for a month.
Well, it looks like they're going to be ordered by date, and can I find a way to reorder them? Probably, but fuck it. You're going to get the Picador.
At least start from the blue period, because everything before that, it's well done, but let's face it.
I mean, he put some cheeks on this plaster male torso, let me tell you. Look at those, Rem.
Those are some cheeks.
All right, I'll start with the blue period.
Cheeked up. Wherefore art thou, Remio? I crave thine big hole.
You're gonna get 2 nudes and a cat.
That's just every day in Sean and Dylan's house with Hermeos.
That's
Weak some shit asking for Darling in the Franks.
You're gonna get Madeline.
Umbrasite.
An actor.
Truckcoon operator number 42.
Portrait of nude Casagemas.
You nailed it. That mouse girl.
Look, I pronunciation of European stuff isn't my forte. But I do like this picture. It does make me chuckle a little.
That mouse girl.
Mother and child study.
Spoonman the aristocrat.
The fool.
Spooky scary Sammy Casey's you shiver with anticipation.
2 figures. Also, look at the fool. My God, what a pizzazz this guy has.
Sean is learning how to appreciate art in real time.
Look, it's just been a long ass time since I've looked at any proper Picasso works, which you think I would have done for prepping for this, but I figured that it would be a nice surprise for me too in the Patreon rates.
Yeah. Silent secondary.
A bank of canal.
Sean says soaking's best with the motion of the ocean.
A horsewoman.
Scourge has Mitsuka and an in-real-life girlfriend now.
A boy with a pipe.
Oh, I'm sure. Roscop.
Acrobat and young Harlequin.
Norikazo, the birds are voting Rem for next Russian Tsar, says Mitsuka. I make music.
A Dutch landscape with windmills.
Moo moo poo moo poo moo poo moo.
Girl on the ball.
Monogatari is everything you say you like in an anime this week. Relationship where characters care about each other.
Family of acrobats with monkey.
That's a good monkey. Miska thinks Sean will want to show Rem the Monogatari series, says Miska, while Miska runs around.
Harlequin on the horseback.
Miska thinks Rem needs to watch the Monogatari series, says Miska, as Miska nods in agreement.
Head of hurdy-gurdy.
Miska is a regulation listener that used to listen to Face Jam, but now listens to 100% Eat, says Miska.
Hurdy-gurdy.
Mike.
Malorcan.
Miguel DeLeon.
Madame Solaire.
It's time for the Monogatari series with toothbrushes and vampires, says Miska, as Miska nods in agreement.
Portrait of Madame Canals.
It's January, time for the Monogatari series, says Miska, as Miska brushes Miska's teeth.
Nudes interlaces.
Hidden Otaku.
Right profile of clown.
Dracula United member Captain Biggleboy.
Seated fat clown. There you go.
Not enough people know about Seated Fat Clown or the Little Bulge.
Yep.
Did you know pigeons die after sex? At least the one I effed did.
The bread carrier.
Crimson Reapers just because of the scythes.
Seated monkey.
Cover 271.
I will say, the seated monkey and the seated fat clown do look like, on the side I'm looking at, do look like they're looking at each other, and I do quite like that. I
do. The monkey wants to fuck the clown.
Well, I mean, have you seen the bulge?
Oh, Carver 271.
The three Dutch women.
Butler Rat heard Railgun Season 2 for the bird, says Miska from afar. Only way they can stop me from drawing Daddy Sephiroth is to arrest me.
Two roosters.
Brandon asks Tails if he wants to be his partner.
Bed with mosquito nets.
Blood Cell thinking about changing his name to Power Cell, but is worried about the mitochondria joke, says Misaka.
Composition peasants.
Beethoven 1201.
El Tinen, and you gotta have a look at El Tinen.
Oh, he's a fucking dude.
He's a little freak is what he is.
What a good freak. Back on that Monogatari grind.
Fernanda with shawl.
Animated Z.
Girl and goat.
Also, you get the big hole.
Hairdressing.
Allfather has been playing too much Marvel Rivals and is very tempted to find or make a quiz for the boys about it.
Portrait of Alan Stein.
And now we move on to the inappropriate Joey Wheeler tier, where Sean Rollins as Joey Wheeler will give you a style of a famous artist, and I will tell you what the painting is going to be in that artist's style. We start with...
Can I name the artist, or do I have to, figure out what the fucking style is called?
You can name the artist, yeah.
Okay,
just make sure they got a specific style.
Yeah.
Sean, do you remember thus WAP? I want to see the other side of your disco stick. See you when the wrath comes.
You can have, you can have Van Gogh. Yeah.
And in the style of good old Van Gogh, you're gonna get the title of the piece is just gonna be called Rollins Gaper. So I'll let you fill in the blanks about that one.
No.
Could be anything. Next up we got Rowdy-O.
You can have Picasso himself.
It's gonna be Blue Picasso or Cubist Picasso.
Let's go blue. Keep it appropriate.
All right. The subject for that is going to be Rollins Big Hole.
Okay, I see where this is going.
Next up, it could mean anything. Next up, we got follow anime out of context on Blue Sky. Sean, how's the rabbit harem and group hug going? Insert disclaimer here.
You know what? You can have Rembrandt. Why not?
And the topic of that one is Nut in Hole. Rollins.
I'm starting to think that it doesn't matter which artist I say.
Let's quickly check out the Blue Sky. See how that's been doing. They did ask which will appear on the Patreon more this week: Soaking, One Nut Rollins, or Titaro. Titaro made no appearances actually.
Yeah.
But One Nut Rollins and Soaking abundant. Both Soaking a little bit more, but One Nut Rollins very close behind.
A lot of them were conjoined as well, unfortunately.
Thank you for tuning in. If you want to reach out for a comment, question, feedback, or recommendation, then you can send an email over onto animeoutofcontext@gmail.com.
Once again, guys, thank you all so much for tuning in. We love and appreciate you very, very much. And as always, don't fuck your sister.
Do-do-do-do. Do-do-do-do. There's just something that tickles me about hard like a tree or hard like metal.
I mean, that's how I describe Dylan's dick. Okay, alright, that's fine. Let's go. Let's do it.
I am afraid. Oh god, I can already feel the 13-inch Remington swelling up within me.